Happy 4th of July. This is a day to celebrate the freedom of all men and women in this country. This includes the freedom of socialists too. And there's no group that stands more for freedom than democratic socialists. So I stand side by side with the concept of the best traditions of Americanism, and I believe socialism do or should coincide with that tradition. Rather than to give you a history, which I love doing, I'll give you a current account of what socialists can do if there was a strong enough movement in this country that would create a greater America. I think that Occupy Wall Street is a great start. You know, economic justice, labor law reform, true healthcare reform, as opposed to insurance-friendly healthcare legislation. The Occupy Wall Street movement, you know, I hear people criticize them. They're like, well, they don't know why they're protesting, or they're a bunch of violent Marxists, or what have you. No, that's not the case. Occupy Wall Street believe in such old-fashioned, antiquated things like bringing back the middle-class American dream. The whole idea of economic security that we used to have relative enjoyment of until global free trade sponsored by corporations and managed by corporations started to manipulate how economies are run around the world. As a democratic socialist, I get very horrified when I see products on the shelf, and just about various products are we'll say, made in China. Socialists didn't cost this. These are your crony capitalists in this country that has cost this. I mean, starting with the Tiananmen Square massacre in 1989, what did I see elected officials from both parties do year after year? They extended most favored nation status to China, basically rewarding China. And China's human rights records is atrocious. And yet we still have a stupid embargo on Cuba, who are not a threat to our national security. I mean, don't get me wrong, or don't mistake me as a fan of Fidel Castro, because I'm not a fan of Fidel Castro, and I just think that I would never support any government that is communist, but some communist governments are worse than others, and China's communism is much worse than Cuba's, and yet the United States kicks Cuba around, rewards China. Cuba doesn't oppress anywhere as much as the Chinese government do against their people, and yet we have a stupid embargo imposed on the people of Cuba. But we're easy on China. That's just crazy. But suffice to say, go on the shelves of various department stores or what have you. You have cheap crap made in China, when all these products could be made in America or made in countries with good labor practices, instead of being made by slave labor or sub wages. That's the most unpatriotic thing I can think of. And the crony capitalists out there, they're expressing hatred of the American way more than any socialist ever could. So, next time I hear some Tea Party guy or some right-wing talk show host or some of those silly people from Fox News talk about, how they are patriotic and they wrap themselves around the flag, why do I never hear any outrage against products made in China? I like to know, because to me, made in China being embraced by crony capitalists equals probably the greatest anti-Americanism one can imagine. You know, I drive a Ford, and in the corner of the windshield there is a UAW bug, United Auto Workers bug. I'm proud of that union bug. I'm proud that there's no part of my automobile made in China. And I would like to see you, all you Americans, I don't care what ideology you are, go on a boycott Chinese-made products campaign. Boycott anything that's made in China. And this is not to bash the people of China themselves there who are not in the government. The people themselves are fine. It is their government that's the bad guys. It's the crony capitalists in America which are also the bad guys. You have an unholy alliance between communists in China and crony capitalists in America. And what's the purpose? Well, you know, to destroy the middle class in this country. So, you know, all you people out there who are sympathetic to the Tea Party, you think that those folks out there, the crony capitalists, are out there, are your friend? Seriously, think again. Really think about what I just said. Be a true patriot. Support American-made products. Stop buying Chinese-made products. Thank you.